All right. Knox Write, thank you so much for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just woke up, feeling excited for the day. But yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Let's just get right into it. You
Yeah.
released There's Something in the Sky
Yeah.
last weekend. How are you feeling post this EP release?
I'm I'm really I'm really happy. It's sort of cathartic because I've been sitting on this music for like too long, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like getting memories popping up on my like photos of like a year ago today, and it's me working on the EP. So I'm just like I'm really happy that it's out. It's a relief, honestly.
Yeah, and I think I was gonna ask you, like, because you released Anyone But You and Hot Summer Nights, um, over the course of a year, really.
Yeah.
You released those two songs, like summer of last year.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, how long did it take you to really like do this EP?
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's complicated because I released Hot Summer Nights, or I mean, I released Anyone But You sort of as like a I made it, and then 2 weeks later I released it because I was like,
Mm.
oh yeah, this is a song that I really like. And then same thing kind of happened with Hot Summer Nights. It was June and July or whatever, and then I started getting like recognition from like labels and stuff from those two singles,
Okay.
and I signed to a label, 30 Knots Records, and that definitely delayed the release because for a while, like the I was in the talks with those people for such a long time that it kind of took a while. But also, I had to take a kind of hiatus from working on music consistently because I was like in my senior year of high school, and I was
Right.
still doing a lot of stuff with like video, and I was making these skits and all this stuff. So music was kind of in the back burner for me,
Mm.
but I think it was around like I don't know, February when I was like, okay, we're finishing it. I finished it about like March, and then it was all about just like, getting ready to drop it. So it's been a long time coming. And I'm a big person that like, because everything that I've done is like all me, like all produced by me. I go back and I work on stuff, and it's not really linear. So it takes a long
Mm.
time for songs to be finished because I always want them to be as like, as perfect as I can make
Right.
them. Yeah.
And I'll ask you now, like, you said it yourself, 6 songs, all produced by you, all written by you,
Yeah.
completely made by Knox Wright, right?
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's so important to me that that's how I make my music cuz I started off like, I started off making like music with YouTube beats, but I never wanted to release that because I mean, it was kind of bad, but I I'm so happy that I got to the point wherever I was able to use my own beats because for a while I was like, "Oh, but my beats don't sound like," at that time I was like Juice World beats, or my beats
Mm.
don't sound like Kid Leroy beats, but then I realized that the beats just sound making your own beats and using your own backtrack and all this stuff is I think the best way to make authentically you music, and that's what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to make music that maybe it wasn't very conventional to what I wanted to make, or maybe I couldn't make music that sounded exactly like this artist, but I was making music that sounded like me, and that is the most important thing to me. And I also think it helps with longevity with an artist because I think that there's only so much of this clone or this all this like if you use type beats, it's great and it's a great way to start off. But for a while, it's like you got to think like, why doesn't that person listen to just Juice World, or why doesn't that person
Mm.
just listen to the people? Like, I think it's a good idea for all artists to kind of make their own stuff or be involved with that process.
Right, and you said it, like, you did make YouTube beats, you made type beats,
Yeah.
a few of them did go popular, right?
Yeah, they did. It that was like 8th grade. I was just honestly it was so fun cuz it was like, I was in like quarantine and I was just like making beats, and I was making like little Tekka beats, and they're getting like 100,000 views on YouTube. I was like, "What the hell?" Like I was like I had no idea what I was doing, but it was so fun to just like I don't know. It was weird though cuz it was hard to show off cuz like
Mhm.
anytime I was at school I was like, "Oh yeah, I got 100,000 streams on this beat," and then they were like, "Oh yeah, play it," and it would be like a piano, and I'm like, that doesn't really it's I don't know, but it was really fun to do. Like that was a great era of my life.
And you just graduated high school,
Yeah.
right? Like you just graduated a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I want to talk about now, real quick, the yearbook.
Oh
That
yeah,
whole
yeah.
series. I think it was what it was 2 seasons. It was like 24 episodes in total. Um,
Yeah.
all written, directed by you. You even like shot some of it as well.
Yeah.
Talk about how creative, how that process was. 'Cause I know you want to be a filmmaker as well.
Yeah. It's just like I I went into this year of high school, or my last year of high school, it's kind of like at this like thought process where I was like, okay, I have all this opportunity. I'm not really using it in the ways I should, and I want to be a writer, and I'm doing music, and I feel like music is at this level, but my filmmaking, which I want to be, is kind of at a lower level.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to kind of work on that and hone that, and that's when I started like writing those skits, and when they took off immediately, I it felt like a sign to just keep doing them. So I mean, it was really hard. It was really hard because I mean, there was like so many variables. Like I was working in 45-minute periods. Like I was kind of procrastinate. Like I was writing episodes in like one day, and then I was shooting them all, and it would be kind of all up to me to just like decide the scheduling and all that. And of course, like the longer we went on, the longer episodes I
Yeah.
wanted to make. Like I was like, oh, I want to make some short films, but then they're still working on the actual yearbook. Like this wasn't because people comment, they're like, oh, this has to be a audio visual or a theater class. I'm like, no, this is just me like forcing
Mhm.
yearbook students, which most of them were theater kids, but yearbook students to be in these skits. But they were all like super cooperative. Like I had the best teacher, and I couldn't have done it without like the people around me. Cause that's the thing. Like, yeah, it was written and directed and edited. Like everything was me, but you know, I I needed the support of others to kind of
Right.
like I wouldn't be able to film stuff if people weren't nice enough to move around, or like I would
Mm.
be like, hey, I know you're working on your
Mhm.
homework right now on this desk, but I need to use it for this shot, and they'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it that's it kind of circles back to like producing on your own. Like I did just say like, oh yeah, it's great to produce on your own and do everything yourself, but it does it does get lonely in those creative spaces. Like if you're working all by yourself and doing all this stuff, it feels good, but it also gets lonely. And that's why having like a label, or having like my brother or people to listen and give me like feedback, like that was really important to me. And I think that was a big stepping stone this year, was learning how to like work together and not just go nosedive into everything, because it is important to have support.
Right. And with your music being all self-produced and you write it yourself as well, I did want to ask you, like, who did you go to for feedback? Who did you go to for suggestions for, here, listen to this clip real quick. What do you think about it?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I grew up in like my parents met in a band, which
Mm,
is really really crazy. And my dad actually, it's funny because it's not all written and produced by me technically, because my dad has a guitar solo in Anyone But
okay.
You. So
Cool.
like it's like my family is like very artsy, like very supportive of this. Like we have this ritual where I finish a song or something, like my dad and my mom and my little poodle, they'll all sit down and they'll all listen to it. And like my parents will genuinely like tell me if they like it, or tell me like, oh, like this is like this, because my dad was a songwriter, my mom was a songwriter.
Wow.
And even
Cool.
though they don't do that now as much, like they still, they have that ear. And same
Yeah.
thing with my brother. Like my brother, he doesn't do he's more of like on the backstage of the music industry. Like he gathers shows and all that stuff. Like he's very heavily connected to the music industry. Like so all of my family all have these ears for music. So I'm really lucky to like be able to ask them for advice and opinions.
And you said it earlier. Some of the students in the yearbook class were theater kids, but you
Yeah.
you did theater as well. You were in some plays as well, right? Was it in high
Yeah.
school?
Yeah, I was also a theater kid. Like I feel like one of these things is that I'm looking at all these artists kind of like trying to destroy their high school career. Like they're like they want to get rid of all this stuff they did in high school because of like the, they want to seem more mysterious and all this. And for a while I was very like, if people realize that I was in theater, I'm not going to look as cool. Like all these artists are going to see me as, but like,
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. It's me. And I mean, I am a theater kid and I am a film kid and I do music. I just love art in any way. And I just like my goal in life is to surround myself with that much. So I love theater and I love that whole like craft. So, and I was in it. Yeah. I don't know. I just,
Well, that's great.
I'm a big nerd when it comes to like all that stuff. Like it's really important to me.
That's great. And I did want to ask you, like, you want to be a filmmaker, you make music. Have you ever thought about potentially like making music for your films in the future? Like writing like
well, like, Childish Gambino, like that whole like, he kind of did that. So that, I mean, that is definitely what I'm not going to say the goal is, because there's a lot of goals, but like,
right.
I look on like this would be one of the coolest things ever. I think definitely making the soundtrack to my own movie would be, that's like a dream. Like that would be awesome. I would do it. I would definitely do it.
Back to the music. I want to go back into There's Something in the Sky. 6 tracks. Let's go through the 3 new tracks though. Talk about once you made and released Anyone But You, Something Great, and Hot Summer Nights. What was the process in making these 3 new songs?
Yeah, well, so after Hot Summer Nights released, I was like, okay, I want there to be a project, and I didn't know what the theme of that project would be. And then one night and it's funny because I was in Florida and I didn't have my laptop, like I didn't have anything to make music, but I was getting these like ideas and I was like, oh, I want to make this song. And I came up with I Saw the Stars Fall, which is the last track. Like I basically wrote that entire song, just like me in a voice memo. It sounds horrible, but I was like, making drums with my mouth. And it was at that moment where I was like, okay, like the thing that is important to me right now is I am kind of in the conversation of like labels now. Like now I'm getting attention from other people and I'm also getting to my senior year. So I realized that like a big idea that has been going through my head is like making it. And, it's like, I feel like I used to say, if I'm not famous by my senior year, I'm going to quit. But now I'm like, oh no, but like, that's a horrible mindset in the music industry. So I knew I wanted to make songs about that whole idea of like wanting to be something great. Well, yeah, something great. And so that kind of started like the writing process. And honestly, all of the ideas for these songs were made in that summer. Like at least the ideas, like I remember making the Dead idea. I made that chorus and I was like, oh, this is good. But I didn't touch it. I couldn't figure out the verse for like 2 months. Like I was just like, trying and failing. And then There Goes My Baby was another thing that happened that summer. And I was like, and that's based off of like, I'm in a long distance relationship right now. My girlfriend, we just completed like 1 year of long distance. She goes to college in the UK in England. Wow. So I made that song kind of about that, but then I realized there's kind of like a double meaning with like sending a song away to like sending a song into a distributor, like letting go of that. And I was like, okay, like it works really well. So I don't know. I just kind of thought about that a lot when I was making these songs. And sonically, I wanted to do something a little different because I was kind of growing into like this like kind of 80s comfort zone where I would only do stuff like very 80s. And a lot of the EP does sound very 80s new wave inspired, but I wanted to do something new and I wanted to kind of like blend styles that I haven't before and get out of my comfort zone. And that's what I'm always trying to do with like new music, is I'm trying to elevate in any way I can.
Right. And you mentioned labels earlier. This EP was released through Masked, what's it called? Masked Mortal Records, right?
Which is like yeah. That is a that's like I don't know what you would exactly call it, but like it's kind of like masked Mortal City Records, like through like 30 Knots Records. Like it's like this whole
Got you.
thing, but it's yeah, the label has been very nice. Like they're great. And it's scary. It's also kind of I feel bad because like I in a lot of ways the EP is kind of like it's not dissing labels, like, and by no means is it dissing labels, but it like definitely questions like the fears that you have through labels. But it's ironic because this was a great experience with the label.
Mhm.
Like I didn't have any, they let me release my music. Make they let me make whatever I wanted to make. So that, yeah, it was a good experience. It was definitely like it definitely helped in a lot of ways. Like I got some more recognition, and it helped to have like I had even more ears than just my family now. Like now I had, the label people.
Oh, like giving you feedback?
Yeah, they would give me feedback, but they always knew, like, they would never tell me to change anything.
Right.
It was just like it was only positive feedback, which
Okay.
yeah,
And I think he posted you a couple times on his page as well.
yeah,
So that was cool.
that was really
Um,
cool. It was
um,
weird because he reached out to me, like, the first time he reached out to me, I was, like, freaking out because I've seen him so
mhm.
much around just, like, my TikTok For You page, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I remember. That was such a crazy week.
Um, I want to ask you about shows and more specifically, um, Frothing Fest. You
Yeah.
played a couple of years ago. How was it playing live music for the first time? And then what's the future of like
Yeah.
where do you see yourself performing, in the future?
Yeah. I had a crazy couple. I haven't performed in like a year, and like I haven't performed any. Like I would love to perform these new songs. Like that's what I keep thinking about. And honestly, like the last time I performed, I was like 16, 17 or whatever, and it was such a good experience. Like it was so fun. Like I had so many people. Like it was weird to see people singing the lyrics to your songs, and like now those songs were at like 1,000, and now that my songs are at like like 10,000 or 50,000. I want to
Yeah.
know what the crowds would be like now. Um, I don't know. It was really, they were really cool, and especially that I had the first show where I met like Tizo Touchdown, and he was at my set, and he was like listening to me, and then I met him, and then all these people from like the Merlin from Brockhampton, like all these. Those shows have been like every single one I've like had a crazy experience. So I want to do more shows because I don't know. I definitely need to practice, and I want to like look into getting
Right.
like a live band and like elevating stuff rather than just a backing track. I'm excited and I'm ready to do it.
And I keep seeing, I'm going to assume that he's one of the founders or maybe the planners of Frothing. But I keep seeing him, he keeps using your songs in like his TikTok uh,
Uh,
posts and stuff. So it seems like there's like a good relationship there with
well,
that.
yeah, the relationship is good. He's my brother, so the relationship is good. That's what my brother does. Yeah, it's a
So
little
that
bit of
made more sense when
nepotism.
you said earlier that he's in the background.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got you.
It's
Okay.
very like it is sort of nepotism. Like he does give me these opportunities, but I mean, I'm gonna take them, and that's one of the like
Great.
I feel like I'm just in like this really lucky spot where it's like it seems like it's bound to happen. Like my parents are musicians,
Right.
my brother does shows, and he's elevating his stuff too. And I love me and my brother are like I feel very grateful to be this close with him, and I'm gonna be living in Austin next year.
Cool.
So like we'll be even closer. Like I don't know, it's always been funny because we're the Wright brothers, so it's like, but obviously there's the other random Wright brothers that did something random. I don't know, but I I'm excited. I don't know. Yeah, Baxter's great. Shout out Baxter. He's always been there for me, and he's always. I'm kind of like in our family. I'm sort of he's very laid back and very like nice, and I seem to kind of be more of like I'm very hard on my opinions, and sometimes I get upset, and like he is always there to like he puts up with my shit all the time,
Cool.
and he'll always like if I say, oh, I want this song to be like this, he's never gonna say no, I don't think so. Like he's always there, and it's good to have that kind of support.
Cool, because I remember him saying, and he was like in an interview with someone, and he said my little brother Knox, and I was like, oh, maybe that's just a way of him saying like, my friend or something. But no,
Yeah,
he's your real brother.
yeah, he little broed me. Yeah. Um,
Okay, cool. But do you see yourself performing more shows with them though in the future?
oh yeah, definitely because I'm living in Austin next year too. It's South by Southwest is definitely like a something that's I don't know. I hope so, and I know I know the guy that puts
Right.
them together, so he wants me to perform them too. So I definitely will.
Cool.
Hopefully
Cool.
next year.
Um, Switching to some unreleased music. First, back in May, I think it was like end of May, you had a song, kind of an emotional song. I wanted to ask, why didn't you release it? Why is it maybe still in progress? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, that one. Okay. Yeah.
You also
That's
you use that song as like a recap of some like kind of scenes of the yearbook as well.
yeah. That song's called Sappy. So
Sappy.
it's sort of okay. The In February, I was at this writer's block moment, and over here in Texas, there was a snowstorm,
Right.
and it shut down everything. And I made an entire album in that snowstorm. Like I said that as soon as the snow falls, I'm gonna make the album. As soon as the snow melts, like that's it. Like whatever's left is the
Cool.
album. And a lot like I'm not gonna release most of the album. Like I don't think so. At least not where it's at. But it was like probably one of the it was very good for my writer's block, and it felt very like it felt like a release of all this stuff that I wanted to just like get off my chest at that moment. And Sappy was one of those songs that came with it, but it was about graduating high school. And the coolest thing about that is that about like a week before graduation, like the like advisors at my school or they came up to me and they were like, "Hey, do you want to like is there a song you want to play at graduation?" I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll play a song, one of your songs on the speakers." Like, I don't know, like anyone but you. I'm like, you know what? I have this one song that's like it's sort of like a graduation song. And they're like, "Yeah, send it tonight." And I was like, so I went home, finished it, like did final touches. And it's funny because there's like the part that I promoted is my favorite part. It's like a choir. And hold on, let me I I got my parents in the room and I like wrote this down on like crayon, and I got them to kind of like record like this like big choir moment, and it has like some of my favorite lyrics of all time. I don't know if I'll release it. I heard it at graduation and it sounded like amazing. But
Mhm.
the issue with it right now is that to me I hear that song and I think of graduation. So like I don't know how I'll feel about it, like, releasing midway through the year, it's one of those
Gotcha.
things where it's like, I love that song so much, and I have a lot of people that are telling me, "Oh, you need to release this song, like, why wasn't this song in the project?" But, like, to me, it didn't like, the themes of it didn't I'm not a person that just it wasn't like a
Makes sense.
mixtape, like, it was
Mhm.
it all the songs on that project were, like, they talked about the same thing, like, this song's talking about high school graduation. So I don't know. I honestly don't know if it'll come out. Like I love the song, but if I make something better, then I'll definitely I don't know. It just depends on how I feel on it a couple months forward.
Okay. All right. Um, Next song I wanted to ask, this is like a more funny song, but the cookie
Yeah.
song. Like I think you played a snippet of it, a clip of it in one of the yearbook
Yeah.
episodes. And then in the comments, everyone was like, whoa, like this song is way too good. And then you did
Definitely.
use it at the end of the finale, the series.
Yeah. I recorded the full version. The cookie song is like it's like Radiohead and Creep. Like it's like the song that I never escapes me. It's my magnum opus. I don't know. Okay, like I made the cookie song like a 15-second snippet, and I remember before I put it out, I was like, okay, the yearbook is viral. Like they don't even know I make music. I'm gonna release a song, and is this gonna be the most popular song I ever release? And I'm like, ah. So I released it, and everybody's in my comments like, oh, you need to release a cookie song. Like I'll be riding my bike in the neighborhood, and I'll just like a kid will come up to me and be like, "Hey, Cookie, and I'm like, no, please stop. I'm like, I don't know, but I did the full version,
Mhm.
and I thought that would be the end of it. Like I was like, okay, I'll give the people what they want. I'll make the full version of Cookie Song. But now I'm at the point where they are like, oh, now put it on streaming platforms. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I I remember, I forgot who it was. Oh yeah, like my principal like said something to me one time, and she was like, "Oh, like release Cookie," and I was like, "What?" I don't know. It's one of those things that's kind of like cursed me a little bit because
Mhm.
I I I did not spend more than 15 minutes making that song, but I mean I'm glad people like it.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's earworm, I guess.
Um, and I have something else I wanna ask you about, something in the Sky EP real quick
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Um, the sirens, you use them, I think, in each song. What's the reason with
So
those sirens? They're great, I
those are
love them.
yeah. They're known as like the J Dilla sirens, which like rest in peace. Like I love J Dilla, and I was just like I forgot where I heard those the first time, but they're very popular siren. Like they're using it's probably like the most used siren. But I remember I did it in Anyone But You for the first time, and I always loved the idea of like a motif in music, like
Mm,
how I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but like how like you'll listen to this project and you'll keep hearing like I don't know, like it's a sound or like this melody and it shows up, and I like that's used a lot of like musicals too, not to be like theatery, but I like the idea of like this this sound reappearing all throughout so you know it's important. And to me it means a lot of different things. Like I hear that siren and I'm kind of just like, okay, this is like a symbol of a star or something. I don't know. It's not like I don't have like a concrete idea of what it was, but to me, like that siren for a while was the project. Like that was like its calling card to
mm.
like I don't know. I think it was just a motif that I used throughout the entire project, and I wish I could say like, oh, this siren means this exactly, but I think it means different things in every song. It's kind of just it lets you know that it's coming or whatever.
And what do you want people to know about this EP? Like, if you were to describe it in a few words, how would you tell
Okay.
someone?
Um, I guess just it's something I always struggle because sometimes I make such specific songs. Like Something Great is so specifically to like this idea of like a music industry, and like two kids try to make it and being a star. But honestly, like a lot of those songs I just made and realized that they had that double meaning. And
Mm,
I guess if I wanted people to listen to this music and think of one thing, I would just want them to there is no answer to what it's about. If you are listening to Anyone But You and you think it's about a girl, then that's exactly what I want it to be. Like it's about a girl. Or if you're listening to Anyone But You and you're like, this is about music or this is about a song, then that's I think the good thing about this EP is that you can look at it in a music standpoint way. Like I think I made it to connect with artists and I made it for artists, but it also can connect with so many other people if you just listen to it and you think about the lyrics in a different way. And that's what I love about music is that there isn't a really right answer. And I'm saying that as a person that wrote it. Like the other day, oh, this isn't a few words. Sorry.
no,
This is
you're
more than a
good.
few words, but the
You're
other day
good.
I was talking to somebody and they were like, or I can't remember who I was talking to, but it was about one of my lyrics and it was in Hot Summer Nights. Oh, it was my girlfriend. I was talking to my girlfriend and I say hanging out with friends and we're funny. And it's really like it's a stupid line. Like I was just like, "Oh, my friends are funny." And she said she thought it was hanging out with my friends. Am I funny? And it was like I was like that's like very two different things because at one point it's like, "Oh, am I funny?" Like, second guessing yourself, or it's like kind of the more kind of like a jovial approach to it. Like, am I fun? Or and we're funny. I don't know. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like that whole thing where it's like, however you interpret the EP is how the EP is, because there really is no right interpretation to what it means.
Cool. All right, cool. And just to kind of wrap up, a couple of weeks ago, you posted, I think this was probably post graduation, how you felt about the quote unquote curse of the summer.
Yeah.
Um, and I have to relate, like it just kind of feels like when you have so much time off, it's a bit like too much time.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask, like, you know, how are you doing so far in the summer?
Yeah. I think June was like, I kind of fell into like a slump, but so like I made a song like 2 years ago about that exact thing. So it's not like this thing that has just happened after graduation, but I definitely think after graduating, it's sort of grown because, it is that feeling where it's like, oh, I don't have people telling me what to do, but I know I need to do stuff. And also, like, I have all this free time, and what would have been like 2 hours of free time where I would have completed all this stuff last year. Now I have 8 hours of free time and I can't complete anything. So it's like,
Mm,
it's definitely a struggle and I'm still working on it. But, you know, it, I got like sometimes I just got to think like it's okay to rest, or it's okay to
yeah.
just like not create every single second of the day, because you're not going to be able to create stuff if all you do is create, because then what are you going to pull from, like, I can't make songs about making songs, so I got to
Mm,
experience something so I can make those songs, and that's how I've been kind of thinking about it, and it's helped a lot.
cool. All right. And before we go, if there's one song that you think a new Knox Write listener should listen to, what's the first song?
ah um I don't want to say anyone but you, because I think that's my most impressive song. So I'm gonna say There Goes My Baby. I think that song is pretty good, and it it sets people's expectations off because it's a good song. Yeah.
All right, Knox Write, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this is a great talk. Thank you.